they are, as they were created. And you learn, you can also, once you love yourself, then you're able to love others and accept them as they are, right? And so part of this learning is to learn to love our bodies just as they are. And that's our topic for today, loving this body. So last week our topic was the body temple. And our body is a place where it mediates between the physical world and the spiritual world. Our bodies, which are simultaneously spiritual and physical, exist so that the divine can express itself in us and through us and as us in loving, creative, and beautiful ways. By tuning into the wisdom of our bodies, we have amazing opportunities not only to navigate the world, but to experience deep emotions and feelings if we tune into them, and to sense that divine presence, right? So the body is miraculous in so many ways. In Ernest Holmes, our founder, says in The Essential Ernest Holmes, there is a cosmic or divine pattern at the center of every organ of the physical body. Our body is some part of the body of God. It is a manifestation of the Supreme Spirit, right? So close your eyes for just a moment and just breathe. Breathe. And consider this body that clothes your spirit and allows you to move about the planet. And just breathe. Observe that breath going in and out. Sense the presence of the divine within you, within this miraculous body that you are. Breathe. Feel the air flowing in and out of your nostrils and your lungs. Consider the 37 trillion cells in your body, each actively doing its job. Your blood cells transport oxygen and nutrients through your body. Mitochondria synthesize ATP and turn your food into energy. Your endocrine system maintains balance in your hormones, your rate of growth, reproductive system, and your energy levels. They're all in divine balance. Your kidneys and liver filter your blood to remove wastes and toxins. Your heart beats more than 100,000 times a day to keep your blood circulating while you work, sleep, or play. Nerve cells carry messages to and from your brain and all parts of your body. Your legs and feet propel you forward by walking, running, dancing, or standing still at your command. Your arms and hands lift, open doors, build buildings, cook meals, write letters and books, and most importantly, hug our loved ones. What awesome creations our bodies are. Our bodies let us navigate the physical world and to experience those deep emotions and to sense that divine presence. So learning to love the body that we have right now offers us a path to love and to live in the present. And so as you come back to the present, fully in touch with this physical body, listen to these words of Ernest Holmes. The body is the house in which, for the present, you are living, and you needed to keep it in good repair by a right mental attitude toward it. Experiences and people, your body is entitled to your respect. So accepting our body is a part of our radical self-love, as Sonia Renee Taylor spoke about this morning. And she's a poet and social justice activist. She first reached prominence in 2004 when she won the U.S. National Poetry Slam. And you can watch her powerful and impactful delivery of her poetry on YouTube. And one of them is The Body Is Not an Apology. And she is there full face. And let's see, we have a picture of this book. And so she's, this is the cover of her book. So you can see that she's right out there and really with it. And so, but that is what she conveys, is that whoever we are, whatever we look like, it is perfect for us right now. And her poetry and articles have been published in numerous poetry anthologies and magazines. And in 2018, she published this book, The Body is Not an Apology. So she's also the founder of her own organization. And on the bodyisnotanapology.com, their focus is on the intersection of bodies, personal transformation, and social justice. And their organization reaches over 1 million people every month in over 140 countries, right? So it's a big place. She has found resonance among so many people. Now, at the basic level, she advocates for the acceptance of people and their bodies just as they are, whether they're fat, skinny, or in between, black, brown, or white, whatever color they are, able-bodied or disabled, healthy or unhealthy at the present moment, young or aging, right? LGBTQIAA+, meaning lesbian, gay, transsexual, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual, allies, and others. I mean, everything is part of who we accept as perfect in this incarnation, right? And so much of her writings focus on that intersection of race and gender with body positivity. She was quoted in an article she wrote called Waiting, spell it like heavyweight, Waiting to be Seen, Race, Invisibility, and Body Positivity. She said, "Our society tells us fatness is not beautiful. Blackness is not beautiful. So even while reclaiming size diversity as beautiful, the presence of blackness complicates the narrative. It is this unwillingness to wade through the murky waters of race that make black and brown women invisible in the places where we say we are trying to make people seen." Right? You know, even all that unconscious bias that we carry within us, even when we're trying to be all-inclusive. Now, Taylor describes radical self-love as that form of natural intelligence that was in that reading this morning. We were born with everything we need to manifest the highest form of ourselves, right? So just as an acorn has the capability to become an oak tree. Now, this was a quote from Marianne Williamson in a lecture she gave in 2016 called The Spiritual Purpose of Relationships. So Marianne says, "An acorn does not have to say, I intend to become an oak tree." Natural intelligence intends that every living thing become the highest form of itself and designs us accordingly. So your body is exactly what you need right now to support manifesting your calling, right? Not just to be here on the earth, but to manifest that higher calling that we came here to do. Another quote from Sonia Renee Taylor's book, The Body is Not an Apology. She says, "Concepts like self-acceptance and body neutrality are not without value. When you have spent your entire life at war with your body, these models offer a truce. But you can have more than a ceasefire. You can have radical self-love because you are already radical self-love." That's that natural intelligence, right? Radical self-love is not a destination you are trying to get to. It is who you already are. And it, that divine presence within, is already working tirelessly to guide your life. We just have to listen. She says that love, radical self-love, is the answer to our questions about how to live our highest self. Now, in the Science of Mind magazine this month, Reverend Dr. Edward Villian, who's our spiritual leader, he wrote an article called Love Letters to Your Body. His early Science of Mind training introduced the idea that his inner self-talk might have something to do with his experience of his body. He already knew that the language of rejection and cruelty harmed people, plants, and animals, and that affirming words of appreciation have a beneficial effect. So in Science of Mind, we teach the spiritual principle that our words have power. And if we accept society's messages about who we should be and who we should look like, rather than affirming who we really are as divine creations, we work against ourselves. You know, instead of using the power of our minds and our inner self-talk to tell the body it is somehow wrong or to reject it as outside of what is spiritual and what it should be, we learn to embrace and love who we are without apology. Right? How amazing could it be to dive into that wonder of who your body is, to truly accept and love and sit in awe of everything your body is capable of? All those things we went through. I mean, what an amazing machine, this divine creation that we are. And God is as much in the body as it is in the heart, as it is in our soul. By honoring and loving our bodies, we have a richer experience of the divine that is all of life. We can use our powerful minds to love our bodies and, by extension, the present moment right before us and everything about our lives. So this week, notice the thoughts that you have about your body. Is it a friendly relationship? Right? What do you say to yourself? Are they loving things or not? Would you speak this way to God if you were talking to God? Because you are. Right? There's a story that supports today's topic. And, Sonia Renee Taylor, she's just right out there with who she is and has no problem with it whatsoever. And that's what she's encouraging people to do. But I don't think everyone's there yet. So what do? Where do you start? And that's what this story is about. So what if you don't have that self-confidence or trust in the divine within you to make this mind shift and love your body the way it is? What if you're not there yet? So this is a story about a woman who went to a retreat in a healing temple. And she already knew many of the people who would be there, so she felt safe with them, right? And the retreat focused on awakening to the sacred nature of our bodies. She felt uncomfortable in her body and feeling that it was just taking up too much space, it's too fat, just didn't like it at all. And she made a habit of just trying to shrink and take up less space and be a smaller version of herself. That was just who she went. But something called her, and so bravely she decided she would go to the retreat. So one night, the group gathered for the evening workshop, and the leaders shared that they would be dancing individually with the rest of the participants in a circle around them, watching the solo dancer. Hair was standing up on the back of her neck. Right. And if you're like me, most of you can have some, there was a time when being out there was not going to be the most comfortable thing. A feeling of terror maybe if you're trying to dance with everyone watching you. And so she sat in the circle watching terrified as a few other participants got up and took their turn. One by one they got up, they took their place in the middle and danced about alone for the entire length of a song. And she was so nervous and really uncomfortable about the impending dance that she was barely paying attention to what was going on and to what her group mates were doing. But then it was her turn. Okay. She felt nothing but terror. Her body was going into full-on adverse reaction. But she had the courage to get up and stand in the middle. She was filled with all these negative thoughts that she had about her body. It was the wrong size. It was the wrong shape. It didn't move the right way. It didn't look the right way. But she stood in the circle, paralyzed while the music played, and she wrapped her arms around herself, trying to be smaller for the entire song. She was she was towering over all the other participants that were seated on the floor. And tears were just streaming down her face. Right. She was deeply self-conscious, feeling her body, and her body was just wrong in the moment, but here she was, holding herself. And when the song ended, no one said a word. What they did, they came up, and they hugged her. They just hugged her. And the tears kept streaming down her face. They held her and let her have the space that she was in. They let her be exactly who she was and loved her for it. They loved her for her courage just to be there. Right? Now, afterwards, the woman said that this experience became a turning point in her relationship with her body. The moment they hugged her, she felt so accepted without trying to fix or change anything. It made it to be okay, just who she was. And it opened her body to the idea that her body was perfect just as it was. She could be who she was. It was so empowering. That was her natural intelligence speaking to her, the divine within her, loving her. And that's where it begins. If we're not ready to be out there, that small flame of spirit within us is always burning and ready to hold us and love us and support us, right? And that's our natural intelligence. That is that radical self-love that's always there. Now, Louise Hay, most of you have heard of her in the past. She was very active in the 80s. She was actually a religious science practitioner. That's where she started. And so she did a lot of work with the community that was challenged by AIDS. And one of the things that she did was a lot of mirror work. So we're going to try some of this. So I imagine that you're standing in front of a mirror, and you can do this at home. But close your eyes, and we'll have our imaginary mirror in front of us. You're standing a foot or so away from the mirror, and look deeply into your eyes. And just breathe. Wonder at your amazing body. Look deep into those eyes. What do you see there? Just breathe. Be with yourself. Keep in eye contact with yourself while you appreciate this precious gift from the divine, this body that has been created especially for you. Now find one thing about yourself that you like and think about it with loving kindness. And breathe. Love yourself. Say out loud to yourself, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me to be fully present in the world. Thank you for your wisdom that keeps me connected with the divine presence within me. Thank you for your magnificence. I love you. And so with one last deep look into your eyes, one last mental hug, allow yourself to come back to this room knowing that you are loving and loved.